Welcome again. Today's topic is design of uh, pin and bush type rigid pin and bush type coupling. Design of pin and bush type coupling. It is flexible coupling. Design of pin and bush type flexible coupling it is. Now all of you know what is a flexible coupling, what is this pin and bush type coupling, because earlier, sometimes back in the earlier year, we have drawn this as a freehand sketch where we have understood how this particular coupling functions. The very fact that it is flexible coupling means that it is fitted on shafts. Now these two shafts are not going to be in one line because of vibrations and some misalignment, etc. The two axes are going to have misalignment all the time due to vibrations. So under this condition, we are supposed to transmit the power. So if we use the rigid coupling in this case, then it will not work, because rigid coupling requires the two axes to be perfectly aligned. And you will also notice that in the case of earlier rigid coupling, the two flanges, they are also located in each other with the help of that 1 mm or 2 mm step. So both the flanges were located properly, and then the bolts were passed for the purpose of only clamping the two flanges. But otherwise the location part was done by the steps, and that was possible because the two axes were perfectly aligned in case of rigid coupling. But that is not going to be the case here. The two axes are not going to be in one line. Under this condition, when you want to connect the two shafts by the flange coupling, at that time, the way two flanges are connected by nut bolts, the nut bolts should be such that they are covered by some kind of a flexible material. That means the bolt is, first of all, it is a special bolt, and that bolt is surrounded by a rubber bush. So now what we'll do is we'll start the design, and the things which are common with the rigid coupling, those things we will eliminate in the sense that they are to be done same as earlier. So whatever is to be done same as the rigid coupling, that we are just noting but not going into the details, whereas we are concentrating on those things which are different here. Okay, so I'll draw, even the sketch also I'll draw to the extent it is new. The rest of the things are same as rigid coupling. Okay, so now you can see that we have drawn rigid, pin and bush type flexible coupling. So as you will see here, some of the things are common and this part is different. So what you see here is, last time there was just a pair of nut bolts used here for clamping the two flanges. Whereas now if you see, the difference is, first of all, this is not a standard bolt. It is called as a pin. Okay, and this pin has been given some kind of a threading here. And you will also see there is a step here. So here the diameter is dp, there is a diameter of pin, and then db is the diameter of the bolt. So there is a difference between dp and db. Small step is there, some change in the diameter. Okay, and then on this diameter of bolt, there is a threading done on this side. On this side, there is a diameter of pin, and after the diameter of pin, there is a dpa, that means the diameter of pin head, which is slightly larger than the diameter of the pin. And then it has got certain thickness also. Okay, this is the thickness of the pin head, this is the diameter of the pin head. Now this pin head is covered within the flange which has got extension. So this is kind of a protected kind of flange. So it has been given some extra collar so that the head remains inside the collar. On this side also it remains inside. So the entire pin on either side is properly covered by the extension given to the flange. So that the operator, this protection is for whom? This is protection for the operator, whoever is operating this particular machine. When it is rotating, these bolts, their heads, etc., they should not project out. So at the time of rotation, it might create some accidents. Therefore, they are covered inside by extending the flange like this in the form of a cover. So that is the basic arrangement. And you will also see here that there are rubber bushes. Now these rubber bushes, there are, in this case I have drawn some 5 bushes are there. Okay, and then this bush has got internal diameter fitted on some kind of a sleeve. So what you see here, dark color kind of a ring, this ring is called as a sleeve. Now that sleeve is covering the pin diameter, so it is outside the pin diameter, and then on this sleeve the rubber bushes are fitted. And the rubber bushes are, it is not single bush, the entire length is covered by multiple number of bushes. The reason is suppose there is some damage to any of the bush, that only bush can be replaced by other bush, piece, and rest of the bush can be utilized. Suppose it is a one piece and suppose some damage takes place, then you will have to throw the entire bush. So that doesn't happen here. That's why it is split into multiple number of pieces. Now what happens is, as the rotation starts, first of all, these two shafts, I am not on the entire coupling, but the two shafts, they are not in one line. There could be vibrations, but in spite of the vibration, the drive can be transferred because the rubber bushes which are here, they are of a flexible material. So slight variation, slight change in the position, they can absorb and they will take care of all the slight amount of misalignment which is there during the power transmission. That's why this is called the pin and bush type. This is pin, this is bush. So this is a pin and bush type flexible coupling. That is all about its construction. Now let's see how it is designed. So for design purpose, certain data is given. So the data is almost like usual. So you are given power transmitted, then you are given the speed, power transmitted and speed, and then some more parameters. Stresses, of course, FT design, and then once you get FT design, other stresses you can find out. But here the stress will be given for steel material, that is nut bolts, and even for the keys same, and for the coupling probably the material can be given as different. So I'll write here FTD and maybe F shear design, and this is for C for coupling. So for coupling, the material shear stress, design shear stress for the coupling material will be given as a different value because this is of a different material than the bolts. So one value of stress for the steel material, the other value of stress for the casting material used for flanges. Okay, and then you have to find, of course, all the dimensions. Now see how we begin. Certain things are same as I said earlier. So we will start with finding out the shaft diameter. So to find shaft diameter D, that means this diameter, that is the first thing. So to find the shaft diameter, power is equal to 2 pi nt by 60. So from this you find torque, and then pi d cube by 16 into F shear stress design is equal to torque. From this you find the shaft diameter d. Okay. Now in this case one more thing is done. Let d is equal to say 1.25 times d. That means whatever diameter you get, that diameter you increase by about 25%, and then you do it rounding and get the higher side. Now this is done to take care of some, because it is a vibrations kind of unit. Okay, there could be some shock load which might come, some cracks might develop. Therefore, for the safety purpose, the diameter is on the safer side increased by about 25%. Okay, so this becomes the diameter, the design diameter from the diameter which we obtained here. So we got the diameter here, then design of key. So to design key, I'll write here. Now for designing key, as you know, you find W, T and L. Okay, so now this part I will not explain because this is same as earlier. So you'll find the sizes of the key. Then comes the shaft, the hub diameter, capital D. Design of hub. Now certain empirical relations we have. So according to that, diameter D, we will write here diameter D is taken as 1.75 times the D size. Then the diameter D1, that is the pitch circle diameter here. This is 3.5 times D. Then the outside diameter, that is D2. This is 5 times the shaft diameter. Shaft diameter 5 times, you get D2. Then the thickness of flange, this is 0.25 times diameter. TF, 0.25 times shaft diameter. So we have got the values of different parameters, and then as usual we have to check, which you will do just like last time, shear failure of flange, and then the torsional shear failure of the hub and so on. That is same as earlier. Now what are the new things here? The new things are involved around the pin. So let's see now design of pin, which is the new thing here. Design of this pin. Now what do you find here different? First of all, it is not a bolt, but then still stresses will be there. The only thing is we have to find out what kind of stresses will be acting here. So now as you see here, first of all, these two flanges, they are separate. In the last example, the flanges were engaged in each other. So both the flanges, and they were located in one diameter here, some 2 mm step, and at the same time they were tied here. So they were like working like a single piece. Now that is not happening here. So the power is getting transmitted from one side through this, through the rubber bush on the other side, and then like this. So there is a chance that this bolt is going to get bending stress. Why it is bending stress? Because as you see here, the bolt is fitted with the help of this tape and clamped by the nut on this flange. So this bolt is something like a hanging part. Now this hanging bolt is pushed by this flange. So when you are pushing this like this by the force here, which is because of torque, then that is going to cause a bending action on this part of the bolt. Okay. So what we now have to do is we have to design this particular bolt considering the bending stresses also, and then it is also going to have shear stress also. So this is going to be a case of a combined stress. shear stress and bending stress. So you have to combine them by the square root equation and get the principal stresses, and those principal stresses should be within the limit. So now how this is done is, incidentally in the design of pin there is one more formula available as an empirical relation formula, which says that diameter of bolt is taken as 0.5 times d divided by square root of n, where n is number of bolts. So they are found out by the chart, or maybe they are given in the data here itself sometimes. So you will get the diameter of the bolt, that means here how much it is supposed to be. So knowing the diameter of the bolt, then some other things, diameter of pin. This diameter of pin is larger than the diameter of bolt by a few millimeters, 4 to 6 mm extra is this. This is dB by empirical, and dP by dB plus 4 to 6 mm. Then the length of pin also is available by empirical, 1.5 times diameter of pin. So diameter of pin and length of pin. Length of pin is 1.5 times the diameter of the pin. Diameter of pin head. Diameter of pin head is another few millimeters extra. So diameter of pin plus 4 to 5 mm extra. Another step here. Then the thickness of pin head. This is 4 to 6 mm. This is also 4 to 6. That means at this stage, by using all this empirical, you will get the full size of the bolt. Okay. Now once you get the size of the bolt, the work is not over, because we have to check it. So whatever sizes you obtain, in fact you have obtained sizes on this side also. So whichever dimensions we have obtained like this, they need to be now checked for various stresses. Out of that, this part you know how to check. These things, that means the dimensions which we obtained for the pin, we want to check them. So this part, how to check the dimensions of the pin, this part, that we will see now. Okay, so now we are checking this pin. So we start like this, to find force on pin. That is F. Suppose there is a F is a force acting at this place. So how much is F? Now this is the force on pin per pin. So this force will be equal to what? There is some torque acting here. So this torque is equal to force, number of bolts, into force per bolt into the radius here. Now this radius